Well, Dookie, it's important to know I'm in control.
That was awesome. We are back with another Relax Retro Talk podcast, and this week we are going to be talking about growing up with the PS3 and the Wii U. But let's start with Spectrefest. We had Spectrefest
That's right.
last month, and we had the most successful Spectrefest of all time, thanks to all of you
Yeah,
guys.
you guys absolutely rocked it. It took us until this point to talk about Spectrefest because I'm so tired these days after doing that 24 hour.
Same.
Honestly, it's like a good few weeks before I start feeling like a normal person again. So
I feel like as we get older, it takes so much longer to bounce back from
it's
Spectrefest.
crazy. It is crazy. Like it was a good 5 days before I even started feeling like somewhat back to normal again.
Mm-hmm.
So but you all absolutely knocked it out of the park. We always go in expecting, not expecting. We always go in hoping to do better than last year, right?
Yeah.
Last year we raised, I think it was 3250, something like
Yeah.
that. Which is that's awesome. That's phenomenal.
Considering our first year, we thought our grand total was going to be $300.
If that, right? Like if
Yeah.
that, we were like, well, we can't make donation rewards above $150. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's no way we're raising more than that.
We this year 2024 the grand total raised was $5,792.86, which obliterated last year's numbers and took top spot, is now the personal best.
Yeah.
It is our PB for running Spectrefest.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Because what was our,
And
our was it the first year or second year our
first year was
highest?
the highest amount. That was at 4,605, our inaugural year.
Yeah, and we beat it by
And
like 1,000.
we beat it by $1,100.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep. So it just goes to show that when we need you guys to show up, all of you show up. And I mean, we had like Granya's entire community came
Yep.
out, not only just for like the sections where she was playing with you, but they were there
The
the whole
whole
time,
time. Yeah, it was
just coming
awesome.
just to hang out with us. It was great. Our community, of course, was there. We had quite a few people make it through the whole 24 hours.
Yeah.
You had lots of company for the middle of the
Shitlord
night
hours of the
hours.
night. Yeah.
Um, that that means that our lifetime total, so the 4 years now that we have performed this event, we have raised $17,167 for Crohn's and Colitis Canada.
That's insane.
Um, and it's just, yeah, and I mean, that puts the crosshairs well within range to cross that $20,000 mark for next year's event,
Yeah.
our fifth annual.
And
And
every time we pass that $10,000
10K.
threshold, we pay for a research grant.
That is a research grant.
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
incredible.
Hmm. Yeah, it's phenomenal. So, thank you to everybody, whether you were or were not in chat,
Hmm.
just any form of support. We had folks sharing the details. I went on a bit of a media tour
Yeah, right.
that
You're doing
really helped
interviews and
out as
stuff.
well. Yeah, I was doing some interviews to Battleford's Now, live with Kurt Price, the primetime local news in town here. All of you, thank you for giving us a platform to help send our info out. The event at a maximum. So a couple. couple Twitch stats
Yeah.
for you over there. Unique viewers. So this means that like households, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't count if you have multiple people in one house. That counts as one. So we saw a total viewer count of 528 unique viewers
That's
showed
crazy.
up for the event. Almost 550 people showed up
Yeah.
to support us in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And we thank you guys so much. I want to give a special shout out to, I think it was Krim and Gudrick this year, stuck
Oh
around
yeah,
throughout the entirety of the overnight stuff. Like that's the worst part for me, is that it's like
10
10 a.m.
o'clock to
till
4 a.m.
yeah, it's brutal sometimes, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're by yourself. But I think it was Gudrick and Krim in the Twitch chat anyways stuck it out the entire night, and we had the YouTube crowd was keeping me company throughout the night as well. It was
And you
just
were battling
awesome.
technical difficulties too.
Right, yeah. So right, it was like it was the week of the Spectrefest stream, and all of a sudden I started like having a ton of technical issues
Hmm.
with OBS and like streaming and stuff like that, to the point where when we started the stream actually died an hour and a half into Spectrefest, and then we were able to get back up again, and somehow it stuck around for the last, whatever, 22 and a half hours or 23 and a half hours. And I don't know how the fuck it stayed on for that long without crashing again, but I'm so grateful that it did. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for coming out and just showing your love for Spectrefest. We had, within like minutes of going live, some
Yep.
anonymous watcher or viewer, I guess, donated $1,000 right off
Yep.
the hop. So I was in that Mega Man costume from like hour
Like
one.
immediately.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
incredible,
And
dude.
we still don't know who that
We
was.
still don't know who it
We've got
was.
no clue who that was. Whoever you are, thank you. Your generosity is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, that was right off the bat. That was in hour one.
yeah,
$1,000 anonymous donation came in. I remember it said "put on the suit." That's all it said.
yeah, yeah.
Put on the suit.
Because every time we hit $1,000, I always put the old Mega Man suit on. And I also just want to let everyone know. So when we reached we always have this goal on Spectrefest. It's kind of like the final boss of all the donation goals, and we never thought we were ever really gonna hit it. But this year we hit it, and that was, if we hit $5,000, I was gonna eat Little Nitro, the world's
Hmm.
hottest gummy bear. It's like a spicy
You
9
did.
million Scoville units gummy bear. And so if you guys want to see that, go and check out our Sailor Moon stream.
Hmm.
So we played through Sailor Moon, the arcade game. It'll be on the YouTube channel. If you go under live, it'll be there. And it was right near the beginning of the stream that I had it, and it was a riot for sure.
Are you gonna clip that out as kind of like a highlight or something?
Yeah, so I
Like
think
just that piece?
so I do want to, and like I'm off work for like 2 weeks here, which is nice. So I'm gonna try and piece together that Spectrefest video and like do the whole
Mm.
24-hour thing,
Hmm.
and then I
Hmm.
think I'm gonna add that to the very end of it, kind of thing, maybe.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah, and then have it that way. So yeah,
Sweet. No, that'd be great. Yeah, and then the only other stat that I had here was at one time our peak viewer count, we reached 50 concurrent viewers. So
oh, that's awesome.
50 people in chat simultaneously. It's just great.
Yeah,
It's a great weekend. The whole event is awesome top to bottom. We had reps from Crohn's and Colitis Canada in chat that were
yeah.
hanging out with us. Um, Friends, family, our community members.
We really feel the
Yeah,
love from you
yeah. It
guys
was it
during that.
was it was we when we needed you to show up, you absolutely did,
Knocked her out of the park.
and yeah, and so now we've got a new goal to cross. So next year, the goal to beat is 5792,
Yeah,
and that's all because of you guys,
yeah.
and yeah,
Crazy, man.
it's great.
Crazy.
It's great.
But let's roll in to growing up with the, what came out first, the Wii U or the PS3? Do
The
you know?
PS3 would have come out first, because it was the Wii, the PS3, and the Xbox
Right, we're
360.
all kind of one
And the Wii
generation.
U was kind of,
It was
I
like
mean,
half
the
a
Wii U was,
generation.
Well, yeah, the PS4 and the Xbox One had come out, and I think the Wii U was around that same time frame, and then they
Yeah.
pulled the plug on it, but
Yeah, the Wii U was yeah, let's start
not
with
great.
not great. So let's start with the PS3. I probably
Yeah,
have a I have a definitely have a heck of a lot more to talk about with the PS3 than I do the Wii
for
U.
sure.
So I'll let you start because I think you said you
Sure,
don't have
yeah.
like a whole lot
I
with the
don't
PS3.
know. I was more of an Xbox 360 person than I
Yeah.
was a PS3 person. There was a couple games I wanted. I wanted to play the Uncharted games. And I wanted to play The Last of Us was another one on the PS3 I wanted to do. And so I ended up getting my PS3 a little bit later into its life cycle. And I bought it because I wanted a Blu-ray player.
Oh yeah.
And because up to that point I had the 360. The 360 was using HD DVDs.
Yeah.
I had
And
the
they didn't
HD
even play
DVD
them
player.
naturally. You had to
No,
buy
you
a
had to buy the
fucking
player on the
adapter.
side. Yep.
Yeah.
It was not ideal, but it was still cheaper than buying an HD DVD
Player?
player.
Oh, okay.
I think the drive itself was like $70 or something like that. Like it wasn't
Oh, okay.
crazy. It was just you had to buy it extra and that sucked.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so yeah, it kind of was my makeshift Blu-ray machine for a little while. And outside of that, honestly, like I had such a small handful of games on the PS3. It never really interested me because the load times on that system were so insane. Anytime I ever wanted to do something on the PS3, I had to sit and wait for 30 minutes while the system updated itself. Even now, I'll turn that thing on and it's
And there's
like, we've got
always
an
some
update.
update.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're not even making updates anymore. Why are you making me wait for 45 minutes before I can play a game? Um, and so that was one of the biggest reasons why I stuck it out with a 360. The other thing was I was a college student at the time. I didn't have a whole lot of money for
Yeah,
both
the
systems.
PS3 was expensive as hell when it
It
first
was
came out.
expensive and it meant that you had to buy their PS Online, the PSN or whatever it was called at the
PSN was
time. You had to
free.
or PSN was free?
Yeah.
Okay. So was there something that you had to pay for online game?
Not on the
No, that didn't have the
PS3.
PS4.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be getting it mixed up because I didn't really play a lot of the PS3. I remember playing the rubber ducky game where you had to tilt the
Oh yeah,
controller.
it was like the six axis. I think it was like a pack-in
It was
game.
the demo for the six axis controller.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fat Princess, you and I played
Oh,
Fat
we played the
Princess,
shit out of Fat
and
Princess.
that was a lot of fun. And
There's a
Hot
Fat
Shot.
Princess in Astro's Playroom, so it's
Oh no
like it
way.
comes. It's like the pack-in tech demo-y game for
Right,
the
right.
PS5. And yeah, there was like a Fat Princess part. There's
Yeah,
like
I
this
heard it was
robot, and
kind of like
he's
a lot of references
yeah, it was
to
so
the
good. It
Sony
was so good.
lifespan. And then Hot Shots 3, I think it is,
Oh,
or
the
maybe Hot
golf.
Shots 4. One of those, I can't remember which one it was, but I played that one quite a bit. And then honestly, after that, it was like my PS3 purchases was dead.
Yeah.
Uncharted and Last of Us was primarily what I wanted the system for, in addition to the Blu-ray player, right?
Did you
Everything else I was
play?
playing on Xbox.
Did you end up playing like all the Naughty Dog games, like the Uncharted and
I
the?
did Uncharted 1 and 2. I did not play 3.
Ooh, three's really good. I think I like
Yeah.
two the best out of the original trilogy, but yeah,
Yeah.
three was good.
What ended up happening was I by the time Uncharted 3 came out, that was right near the end of the PS3's life cycle,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah. So by the time that came out, I had basically moved away from console gaming almost entirely at that point.
Mm.
Um and that was my oldest was born around that time frame too, so I didn't
Oh
really have
yeah,
a
and
whole
then
lot of
that
time
sucks a lot
for
of
gaming.
yeah.
And so yeah, so The Last of Us was I guess I also picked up Heavy Rain. And Heavy
Oh
Rain was a
yeah.
lot of fun. I
I
really enjoyed. I was
remember
talking
you
with
playing the
Fates
shit
about
out of
that
that
game.
one.
Yeah, I was talking with Fates about that. I really dig those games. He was playing what is it? Detroit
Become
Almost
Human.
Human.
Yes,
Detroit
yes.
Become
I
Human.
remember
That's
you
what it's
was
called.
telling me about that.
He was playing that, and I was like, man, this game looks a lot like Heavy Rain. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's because it's made by the same team. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that makes so much more sense now. And that game was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Heavy Rain as well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that was kind of the extent of my PS3 journey. I didn't really play it a whole lot. Hold on a second. I'm completely forgetting about White Knight Chronicles because I buried
Yeah,
that.
dude.
White Knight Chronicles was so much fun, and I was so mad when they turned the servers off
Yep, we
because they
played
made
the
the game
shit
completely
out of that
useless.
game.
Yeah, and that was a fun game. That was a
Yeah,
lot of
dude.
fun.
Yeah.
That was the dawn. See, this is where I started moving away from console gaming because what was happening was I would play these games, I would buy them, and then I'd put them on my shelf, and then one day I'd be like, "Oh, you know what? I haven't played in a long time, this game," and I would put it in, and it wouldn't work
Oh,
because the damn game server's offline or whatever it
yeah,
is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so it just became a bit of a hassle, and I started moving more and more into PC gaming at that point. So
Right. I think I talked about White Knight Chronicles. I think it was my like top 10 games that aged terribly or
yeah.
JRPGs that aged terribly.
Mhm.
But dude, we had so much. We played the shit
We
out of
played
that.
a
Like
ton
it
of
was like
that
all
game.
weekend, every weekend we would play.
Yeah.
Because there was
Yeah.
so much to do online. You had
It
like
was
there was like a little town you
it was
built, right? And
huge.
you could like
Yeah.
farm items and yeah, it was awesome.
It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed that game. I wish that we could play that again. I wish
Yeah,
there was another
same.
game like it,
Same,
but
same.
you know,
Um, I completely forgot about Fat Princess actually, so I'm glad you brought
yeah,
that up. That game was so much fun. And it
that
was
one
like
was
so
fun.
simple too.
Yeah.
Um, another one before I kind of get into like how I started with the PS5
Yep.
or PS3 because otherwise I think I'll forget about some of this stuff. But we played the shit out of Castlevania Harmony of
Harmony of
Despair.
Despair. I was gonna bring that
Yes.
up too, but I didn't play that until way after
Oh
because you
yeah,
and
same
Finney
with
were
us
playing
though.
it. But
We
no, you and Finney were playing it while the
right
system was still
and Bubs
there.
too. Yeah, I do
Right.
remember.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't until like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
played it, I streamed it. That was the first time I played it, right?
Yeah,
Like it would
yeah.
have been 2021, I think, that I actually played the game, right?
Yeah,
So
that game is so good though.
tons of fun.
It's like all your like favorite areas from like the
Hmm.
classic Castlevanias and like Castlevania Symphony of the Night and like all those games like
And
Portrait
it's
of Ruin
online,
and it's online, it's co-op,
co-op with your buddies.
it's so good. And then I think we even got like all the DLC
We did
maps
get,
too.
yeah,
Cuz there's the one my favorite is still the one where you play through
play
Castlevania
through
1
the entirety of
entire
Castlevania
game.
1.
and
Yeah,
it's like what is it, 4 player or even more than that?
it's 4 player.
Co-op.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was so awesome.
We should fire that up again one of these
Yeah,
nights. That was a
dude,
lot of fun.
that was so much fun. But yeah, starting off, when I first got the PS3, I didn't get it like at the beginning either.
I thought
I
you got it on launch.
No, I think it was a year after on Boxing Day. Because I was
Okay.
waiting for the price to come down. I wasn't gonna pay full price for it because it was super expensive.
That makes sense. It was very expensive.
But I don't think Uncharted was out or was about to come out when I bought it.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
I bought it, and the reason I bought it was for Metal Gear Solid 4. So that's kind of why I bought it like right around when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out and Uncharted 1 and stuff like that. So it was still within, I don't know if it was within the first year or if it was like early in the second year of launch. But anyways, I remember getting it on Boxing Day and having like no money left because I just bought fucking a PS3. And it definitely was like, it's funny because you said that it was the console where you had to wait around all the time.
Hmm.
But most of that got fixed by the time you got it because it was like 30 times worse
Oh
before.
man, I can't believe it was even worse
It
than that.
was. So I remember getting it, and like this is like when you get a new console and you hook it up and you just want to play it right away, right? So you hook the console up. It's got like a crap ton of updates to download. It's installing all
Hmm.
the updates. And that was great, right? I was finally able to play it after like an hour of setup and bullshit
Yep.
like that. I didn't really have, like I said, I didn't have like a lot of money left. So there was a game. The first 2 games I got for the PS3 was a game called Pain, and it was.
Oh, I remember Pain.
Did you play it?
Yeah, that's you launched the guy off
He's
the
like
roof,
it's like a
right?
giant slingshot, and it's
Yeah.
a guy, and you launch
Yeah.
him off of it, and you have to like cause as much damage to him and the environment as you can. And it was
Yeah, I
honestly
remember
pretty
that.
fun. Like
That was a fun one.
yeah, it was pretty entertaining.
It's one of
for
those
sure.
ones you could play for like half an hour and then come back to when you just want something to screw around with, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you try to like beat your old high score and stuff like that. And it was pretty fun. Like, was it something you would buy a PS3 to play? Heck no, right? But it was
Right.
the only game I really had at the time. So it was that, and then it was Tekken Dark Resurrection. I don't know if it was like Tekken
Really?
4 or
A
something like that.
Tekken game.
Yeah, Tekken 4 Dark Resurrection. And this was it was crazy because like most of my time playing video games and stuff, like I always kind of remember where I was in my life when I got that console and when I played it the most. So like the NES was obviously like early childhood, same with the Genesis. And then like the PS1 was like my teen years, kind of like
Sure.
13 maybe to like I don't know, 15 or 16 or something. And then the PS2 was kind of there until after I graduated. Because I remember, was Killzone PS2 or was Killzone PS3?
I want to say that's PS3.
I think the first one was PS2. I could be
It
completely
could
wrong.
be.
Because it was supposed to be like the Halo killer, right?
I'll
And
look it
Halo
up.
was Xbox. So that would have been PS2, I think. I want to get this right because it was that's when I was like I lived in like the dorms
Yeah, it was on
at college.
PS2.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So yeah, like right after
2004.
so yeah
Killzone was released to the PS2 in 2004.
so yeah that would have been when I was still in high school. I would have been like grade 11 grade 12 at that time.
Yeah.
And so the PS2 was kind of like my late high school years slash graduated years, right? Because then I would have got the Wii shortly after that and so on.
Right.
And then it was kind of like when the Wii came out and like the Virtual Console and all that I got really big into like retro gaming again, and that's when I
Right.
went back and played like the Dragon Quest games that I didn't play, like Dragon Warrior 2 and 3, right? But anyways, the PS3 was when so I moved to Regina because my wife wanted to go to college. She was like my girlfriend at the time. That was when they like first moved in together. And I was working full time and just the absolute dog shit of shifts. I would work 4 p.m. till midnight, I think was my shift.
You had midnight shifts.
Yeah, it was dog shit. And I was working that all the time, and then I'd either be working or sleeping or working on videos because that's when we had like our Blurry Prawn website.
It was Blurry Prawn.
Which
Yep.
we did a whole podcast on. You guys should check out for sure. But anyways, so I was either working on videos, like reviews and stuff. We were doing podcasts. I was playing PS2, or I was working or sleeping, pretty much.
Yep.
And I just remember that's when I got the PS3 was when I was living in Regina. So like almost all my memories with the PS3 was when I was living in Regina. And Regina, I was like far away from everybody else, right?
Yeah,
like,
you were remote.
yeah, like I think it was like 4 hours. I think it was 2 hours to Saskatoon. I can't remember.
Three, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. It might have been 3. And it was like 4 hours to get to my hometown, and like so like I was like terminally online when it came to like interacting with my friends at the time. I ended up making friends when I lived there, which again, all my PS3 memories with those friends from Regina are all on the PS3, right? Like
That's right. Yeah.
So the PS3 was actually like a pretty like special console for me because it was like we were kind of living away from everyone. We had no contact really outside of like the internet, and the internet wasn't what it is now. It was
That's right.
It was like you couldn't. I don't even know that I had a cell phone at that time. I don't think I did. Like I didn't. You couldn't like. I wasn't like texting and shit like that, right? So you would like go on like Skype and message someone and be like, "Hey, do you want to hang out on Skype?"
MSN Messenger was still a thing.
Yes, exactly. So I was very like secluded and stuff at this time, and yeah, I just remember playing a lot of Tekken, a lot of Pain, and then Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and like I was like, "This is gonna be incredible." And keep in mind, I did not have an HD TV at this time, right? So I'm playing PS3 games on my CRT. So I can't read shit, basically.
Right,
because
it's all fuzzy.
It's all in like HD, and the text is like this big on the screen because it's so compressed on the CRT screen. So I can't read anything, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to like buy a freaking TV in order to play Metal Gear Solid 4. But anyways, I got home with Metal Gear Solid 4, and I was so stoked because I'm like a pretty big Metal Gear fan.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is your thing.
And I got it home, and this is like notorious for anyone who's ever played Metal Gear Solid 4. You put the disc in, and it's like 3 to 4 hours of Snake smoking cigarettes.
Just smoking cigarettes.
Because back then, if you bought a PS3 game, you had to install the game before you could play it. and
Yeah.
they were huge games.
Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable, and it was just I just remember staying up so late thinking that I'd be able to wait out the install and play the game the night that I bought it, and there was
Yeah.
no chance. I had to wait till like
No.
the next day after work to
Yeah.
finally start playing Metal Gear Solid 4.
It was insane. It was I don't I like I get it. It was just how it was for the times,
It
but
was
the 360
ridiculous.
didn't work that way, right? The
Mm-hmm.
the games, some of those games were ports. There was no reason why it had to be installed to the system except for the way that the system was set up, right? Like, because
Yeah.
that's not how it worked on the 360. You put the game in, it would say there's an update for this, you'd install the update, and boom, you're playing. Like,
Yeah.
installing it to the disk was an option. If you wanted to do that, it would allow you
Yeah.
to boot it up faster, but you didn't have to do that by any means. And that didn't come until later on in the system's lifespan, right?
Yeah.
I remember every time I fired up that stupid PS3, it would be like 30 minutes of updates
Yeah,
and
dude. It
30
still
minutes.
is. It still is.
Takes forever.
But yeah, we played and then once I finally got past the final boss, which is the install screen of Metal Gear Solid 4, dude, that game blew my mind. It
It was
was
so good.
so good. Still doesn't have a port. It is still locked to the
That's
PS3.
surprising.
It is. It's
I would have
insane.
figured by now they would have done that, but I know there's some stuff that's going on with
Yeah, Kojima
Kojima
versus
and
Konami
Sony
and
and all
stuff.
of that, and yeah,
But I think they will be doing it soon because they are doing the Metal Gear collection and stuff like that.
like
Like
an
they're
anniversary
releasing,
collection or something.
yeah, they're releasing like HD collections of Metal Gear Solid. I think they did 2 and 3 already or something like that. I
Oh,
can't
did they?
remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've
Heard
never
they weren't
played a
very
Metal
good. I
Gear.
heard they like changed some shit. It
Oh,
wasn't
that
as good.
sucks.
But
Can't do that. Man,
at least it's playable. So I hope they get to 4 soon. I hope they
that
get
would
to
be cool.
Peace Walker really soon. That's like
Well,
my
if they're,
personal favorite.
I don't know if they're changing the story. I hope they just leave
No,
it
they're not
alone.
changing the story. It's just like when they get like a third party company to do the remake and it's just not as good. Like there's some jank
Right.
to it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
it
stuff like
sucks.
that more so.
Okay,
But
they're
yeah,
not pulling a Final Fantasy VII on you.
no, they're not doing. It's not to that extent. It's
They're
kind
like,
of like
Solid Snake is a box now. He's not. He doesn't get in the box.
he
He
is a
is
box,
a box,
dude.
wearing a person costume.
I remember. So this is a little off topic, but a little on topic. When I got Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, I think it was. It was like the special edition, I guess, of Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PS2 with
Okay.
a bunch of like extra content and stuff like that. And I bought it when I was in like your city, and it was when you and Jason still lived in the apartment building, and I wanted to
Mhm.
play it, but I didn't want to play like start the story because I didn't have my memory card. And they
Right.
had a Ape Escape kind of like side game in there called Metal Gear. And I just remember playing the shit out of Metal Gear at Jason's place in your city in the apartments there. It's like
Metal Gear.
yeah, and we played the shit out of that.
That's
But
so
anyways, yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4, absolutely incredible. Needs a proper HD. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
it's in HD, but needs a proper remaster for PS4 and 5 and stuff like
So
that.
you're saying I shouldn't look at the remake? I've never played a Metal Gear game before,
Really?
ever. Like
They're
none
so
of them.
good. They're so
I
good.
that's not fair to say I've never played them. I played the demo of Metal Gear Solid 1
Okay.
and it was okay,
I'm
but
not
I've
the
never
biggest
been in
fan of Metal Gear Solid 1.
well, I'm not an espionage guy. I'm
Yeah.
really bad at tactics and I'm really bad at like sneaking around.
Right.
And so those games never appealed to me. Like just never.
You
Um
don't
but
have to in some of them. Like if you can kill your way through. Like you can
Right,
definitely carnage your
but
way
I
through those
I
games.
always compared it to the Tom Clancy games, like the Splinter Cell,
Right.
and it's not nearly as bad as that. So then I'm like, well, maybe I
Splinter
could
Cell's
actually have both.
awful.
Yeah, not a great game.
No,
No,
I did not like
I
those.
played that quite a bit because it was one of those games where if you bought it, you would play through it because you're not getting another one for a while.
Right.
I remember playing and like beating my head against the wall playing Splinter Cell, and I was like at the final battle, I finally just quit forever. I was like,
Oh,
I'm just
man.
not gonna play this anymore.
I hate
So
it.
mad.
Yeah. Well, I grew up playing Metal Gear, and then I tried Splinter Cell, and I was like, this just ain't it. But
No.
I think the thing is like with Metal Gear, especially one in 2 and from Metal Gear Solid 2 and on,
Mhm.
the the controls and like the game is made around stealth, so it does a good job of like, it's not like when you're playing a game and then all of a sudden there's a stealth section and you're just beating
Right.
your fucking head against the wall because the game isn't made for it, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, you I think you would be okay. Metal Gear Solid 1 you might struggle with. Like I'm still not the biggest fan of Metal Gear Solid 1. The story's great, but the gameplay has not aged all that well for Metal Gear Solid
Oh,
1, I
really?
feel like. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 absolutely phenomenal. Peace Walker is probably my favorite in the series. It's so good, and it's got like a co-op mode, and they have an HD version of it on the PS3, so that one's really good. I bought a PSP actually to play
Oh,
Metal
no
Gear
way.
Solid Peace Walker because it was a PSP exclusive for a long
It's
time.
the games you buy consoles for are fascinating to me. I'm shocked that PS3 your game of choice for that was Tekken.
No, that's not
That's
why
just
I bought it. That was
no,
like,
no, but like that was like your first like was that your first purchase game, or did you just buy the system and you were like, I'll buy a game later?
yeah, I bought the system and then I got home and Pain and Tekken were like dirt cheap on the PlayStation store.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I thought Tekken was like you bought the system and then out of the cabinet of
No, they were just
games,
like
that was the one you
downloaded
picked.
purchase games.
So I was
Because
like,
I think
man,
Tekken
Tekken,
4 is
that's a
actually like a
crazy pick.
PS2 game. I think it's just
Oh, okay.
and it's just on the PS3.
Because like I played Tekken 1 way back in the day.
Yeah, same with Tekken 3.
I'm not a fighter fan
No,
by any
I
means.
am, but
And
not 3D. I'm not generally
Tek
not a 3D fighter guy.
Tekken's an interesting fighter too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not the one that I would have picked, right?
I'm not a Tekken fan by any means, but I needed something. I don't know. I needed something.
So so I got a question for you then. Why did you buy the PS3? Like were you like I'm gonna buy the PS3 because I want a PS3, or were you like was it just because there was just such a crazy deal? Like if you didn't buy a
Hmm.
game with it, like why buy it then? Why
Yeah,
not
I
wait
bought it.
till there was something else that you wanted?
Well, because Metal Gear Solid 4 was right around the corner. So was
Hmm.
Uncharted, and that was by far the cheapest it had ever been
Oh,
because it
okay.
was like on a Boxing
So it
Day
was like
sale.
on sale.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Boxing Day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so like I bought it and yeah, I was gonna buy it no matter what, and I was like, well,
Right.
I should play something on it, right? So I
Yeah, because
got just
like
some downloaded games.
when we were talking about the Xbox 360, I bought the 360 to play Gears of War. So it
Right.
was like I not only I want the console, but I want this game
At the
too,
same
right?
time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's I was like, wow, Tekken, wow, must have been a really good game.
No, it wasn't even that good. Um, but yeah, and then so I played Uncharted shortly after that. And then that was when that was kind of around the time Street Fighter 4 and the Mortal Kombat, I think it was 9 came out,
Okay.
and Soul Calibur 4, I think it was with who was in Soul Calibur 4?
Hachi was in the PlayStation one.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking the Star Wars guys. It
Oh,
was when
Darth Vader?
Darth Vader. Yes. So that was kind of like when I was like back in my peak of like the fighting game
You were
stuff.
all in on fighters.
Yes.
Yep.
And what else
And you were
came
really
out?
good at
That was like King of
Fatal
Fighter.
Fury, was it?
Yeah,
King
Fatal
of,
Fury.
Fatal
King
Fury
of
and King of
Fighter.
Fighters.
Yes. So Fatal Fury, I had all the archive collections on my PS2, but my PS3 was backwards compatible, right? So I'd like play
Mhm.
those, and then there was like King of Fighters. I had one of those on the PS3, and we would have so my buddy Sean, who's Reltic, if you watch our Twitch streams and stuff like that, he goes by Reltic, and him and there was a number of people that like my friends that I made just through work and stuff when I lived in Regina. They would all come over and we would do fighting game tournaments, and we would do like I don't know if you guys remember like Screw Attack back in the day. They would do like their
Yep.
Iron Man of gaming, and we would do like we called it like an Iron Man fighting game kind of tournament, and we would do like Soul Calibur, the latest Mortal Kombat, which I think was 9 at the time, which was like the best Mortal Kombat game, by the way. It was so freaking good, and I'm not like a Mortal Kombat guy, and it was
Right.
so damn good. And then Street Fighter 4, and then there was a King of Fighter. I can't remember which King of Fighter. It might have been like 12. And then there was a Tekken game. I think it was just like that Tekken Dark Resurrection. And we would play all of those, and every time you would win. We would do like Mario Kart style ranking. So whoever got like first, second, third, fourth would get a certain amount of points for that
Okay.
game, and then we would do another tournament with the next game, right? So we would just keep. It was like a whole weekend thing, and we did this like a few times. And the winner would, I don't know, you wouldn't really win anything, but you would just you were
You
the
would
winner,
win
right?
pride.
Yeah. And it was so awesome because I would do so good at like the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and King of Fighters, but then like Sean was like really good. I think it was Sean was really good at Tekken and
Okay.
and Soul Calibur and stuff like that. So everybody had like if you weren't good at 2D fighters, there was a lot of 3D fighters in there
Right.
and stuff like that. So everybody
Everyone
kind
of
of
had what they were strong at.
yeah,
Kind of
so
thing.
you would if you knew you couldn't win this game, you still would do as good as you could because then you knew that like you would make up those points in a later
Right.
game, right? Like and we would do like tournaments like all the time. It was so much
That's
fun.
so cool.
And I think
I
that's
love it.
why like I got into fighters so much back in that time period because that's kind of like what my friends in that because nobody really played like that was also kind of the generation where like the JRPG kind of just fell off the map.
It did.
And-
Yeah, it disappeared for
yeah.
a good long while.
And like nobody there really like played JRPGs all that much. Like none of my friends in Regina did. So I had to find something to still like play with like my new friends and stuff, and they were all kind of into fighting games at that time.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, I fight. I've never gotten along with fighters because I can't memorize move lists.
Yeah.
I have a real problem memorizing move lists, and so and then
And
my
Tekken's
reaction
like the
time is
worst
too
for
slow.
that because you literally can't
Tekken's
do
so bad
anything
for that.
unless you do
Yeah.
the pre-programmed
Yeah,
combos in Tekken.
If you don't know the move lists,
Yeah,
you're
you're fucked.
done. It's
And Mortal
game over for
Kombat
you.
gets that way too. Like
Yeah.
I find like 3D fighters are so bad for that. Whereas a 2D fighter,
Absolutely.
you can kind of like fumble your way through and find like make
Button-
your
you
own
can button
combos
mash a
kind
little
of
bit.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that is definitely one of the strong suits. And with PS3 too, they had with the wireless controllers, they allowed you to have multiple people at one time, didn't
Yes, that was the first PlayStation console I think where you could have
Without
I think
a
you could have up
multi-tap.
to 7, but
Yeah,
you
it was
only
quite a
ever
few
we
quite
only
a few
ever used
controllers.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. Without a multi-tap, you could have multiple people playing the games, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which
it was the
that
first
was really cool to see with
naturally
Sony doing that,
four-player-
right?
Yeah. And then like you said, like the online wasn't the greatest. It was definitely better than like what the Wii had, but the
Yeah.
online it was like making like parties and like apparently on like the 360 you could like make a party and then jump in and just stay in that voice channel.
That is how it worked, yeah.
But I
Which
just
was
remember,
so nice.
I remember we would use like Skype, right? And I had Skype on
Yeah.
my PSP, and I remember you guys always bugging me because you're like, you sound like you're in a fucking chip bag or something. Because I'd use my
It was
PSP.
not good.
I would use my I didn't have like a cell phone. I would use my
Yeah.
PSP as my cell phone basically because I would like pay for Skype, so I could like phone people with my PSP.
Yeah, it was the dawn of
ridiculous.
voice over IP. Phone calling, right?
Yeah.
That is definitely something that was a major drawback for me. Anytime that we wanted to play, and to be perfectly frank with you, the PS4 carried this on too at its launch,
Right, and then fixed it later, I think.
finally fixed it. Which was the dumbest thing, right? Like it was such a pain in the ass. In order to play a game with somebody, you had to know what their name was, you had to have them on your friends list, and then once you did that,
You had to send an
you'd-
invite
and
in game.
you had to send an invite
They had to check their
in-game
messages.
to go into the mail to
Yeah.
open that up,
And then
to
that would
accept
open
that.
the game and pull you into the
I
lobby.
tell you, man, it was so complicated.
That was all I
The
knew
three-
though, because like I didn't,
well, exactly,
yeah,
right?
I didn't
But, like,
get it like a 360
the,
till like
the beauty with the 360 was like you would start a party, which there was a button that said start a party. As soon as your friend came online, you would hit the button for friends list. You would push X, I think it is, to invite to party. And as soon as you're connected, if you jumped into Call of Duty or whatever,
You
it
go
just brought the whole
together.
party in. Everyone comes together. If I leave, we all leave. Like it was really, really well done. And now since then, all these systems have the same
Yeah,
thing.
pretty
Nintendo
much.
doesn't, but Nintendo, I don't know if they really count.
they don't really
with
know
their
how to
online.
do online all that well.
They still don't know how to do online. Maybe the Switch 2 will fix it. I have no
Hopefully,
idea.
you would have
But-
to. You would think.
I don't know. I mean, they've never really prioritized online, but then I've also never prioritized giving them money for their online
Yeah, that's true.
services.
The fact that
The
Nintendo charges for their online is kind of
dude, it's a
atrocious,
slap in
but
it's a slap in the
you're
face.
pretty
Like
much
I'm
actually just playing for the like NES and Super
that's what
NES
you're paying
games.
for the
That's what you're really playing.
virtual consoles.
Yeah.
The PS3 shipped with an HDMI port on the back of it,
Right.
right? Something that the Xbox 360 didn't have. The Xbox
Right.
360 had component
Components. Yep.
cables, component and composite cables. And so that was definitely a shift forward with it being native Bluetooth or Blu-ray player. That
Yep.
was also a definite bonus that it had. Um, but like you said, the system was significantly more expensive than
Yeah.
the Xbox 360 at the time too. So that was kind of the either side. But the 360 had the red ring of death. The PS3 had the yellow light of death, but not nearly as often as the red
Yes.
ring came up.
Ooh, I got yellow lighted. So
Did you?
yes, yes. So I had my PS3 for quite a long time. Like I was living in this house, I think, when it
Mm-hmm.
yellow lighted.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in this house for about I think like 12 years or something now, maybe longer than that. But anyways, we it was Uncharted 3 came out and I was like, fuck yeah, I want to play Uncharted
This
3.
is it.
And I bought the game, and I think it was also one of those situations where I like booked work off, like it was like one
Oh,
of
okay.
those.
Yep.
And I was playing it, and all of a sudden my game just started like juddering and
Oh no.
like freezing and stuff. I was like, what is happening? And I remember I recorded it and I uploaded the video to YouTube, and I was like, is anybody else having this problem with Uncharted
Right.
3? Like I thought it was just the game. And then I kept like I would turn the console off, turn it back on, and it kept freezing at the same spot. And then all of a sudden it locked up, screen went black, yellow light came
Oh
on.
no.
And I was like, no way. And I had to like I was like, I'm already like maybe like halfway into the game, and I wanted to finish it and see what happened, right? So
Right.
that was like I went to the store and I just brought my credit card and I was like, I'm buying
You're
a
like,
fucking PS3,
I
I
guess
guess.
we're doing another one.
And that's why I
Oh
have like the
no.
PlayStation Move add-ons, because the bundle I got, the cheapest bundle that was there, had like the Move ones and
Got it.
the
Okay.
eye, like the webcammy thing and stuff like that,
Okay.
which was good because that was after I beat Uncharted 3. I started downloading like so many light gun games because it had like all the light gun games in high
It did
definition.
have a really good the PlayStation Move really leaned into the light gun games quite a bit.
Yeah, like because
Which was kind of cool.
yeah, because even like the Wii, there was some on the Wii, but then the Wii wasn't really high def. So then I would
Right.
like even the ones I had on the Wii, I would like rebuy on the PS3. But I had all the House of the Dead games on the PS3, like 1 through 4,
Right.
and then Overkill. There was those Resident Evil ones like Umbrella Chronicles and Dark Side Chronicles. And like there were
Yep.
so many good like light gun games that ended up on the PS3. So I'm in the end I'm glad that I got the PlayStation Move bundle, but it was
Right.
just like in a time of crisis that I had to like just throw it on my credit card. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this."
No kidding. Uh PS3 had a very weak launch kit. I don't know if you know this or
Oh
not, but
yeah.
their launch titles were not great.
I think the only one that
Uh
anyone played was Warhawk, and I don't even know if that was a launch
so
title.
it wasn't a launch title according to this list. This list had 9 games released for launch, and they are as follows: EA Sports Madden NFL 07, EA Sports Tiger Woods PGA Tour 07, NBA 07,
Why?
NBA 2K7, NHL 2K7.
Oh my god, it was just all sports games.
So 5 sports games. Resistance Fall of Man.
Oh, that game was fucking good. I have
That
that
one
one.
you had. I know you had that one. Tony Hawk's Project 8, Untold Legends Dark Kingdom,
Never even heard of
and
that.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance 1 wasn't even that good.
It wasn't that great, but it was a lot better than most of the games on
Yeah,
this
no
list.
doubt. Who's
Man,
gonna buy
that
the
is a
console
weak
for any
launch.
of those
That's
games?
that's a weak launch list.
Yeah, I imagine it did terrible at launch because those are awful.
Yeah, not great.
Resistance was really good though. Resistance 2 was way better. I remember beta testing Resistance 2, and it just controlled so much better than the 1st one.
Yeah, Resistance was I remember playing that one with you. You had come up. to where I live.
Yeah, we did I
And
think a
you brought your
review of
system. I
that.
remember playing
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was good.
Resistance, yeah, Resistance 1 was good, but Resistance 2 was so much better, and then Resistance
Hmm.
3 was good, but I think 2 was still the best. I would
Yeah.
love to see those get remastered or something on the PS5 or PS4. That
Sure.
would be awesome
Yeah.
because those
Yeah.
games were so good, and I feel like they're like forgotten games. And they
Yeah.
were made, I think they were made by like the Ratchet and Clank guys. I think
I think
is
so.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Oh, Ratchet and
Um,
Clank was I
Ratchet and Clank was
yes.
also on the system.
Yeah, so I wasn't like a big Ratchet and Clank guy. Your younger brother Bubs was like a big Ratchet and Clank guy on like the PS2. But then on
Yeah.
the PS3, I got Ratchet and Clank Future Connected or something. I don't even know what the hell it was called. Future Tools of Destruction. That's what it was.
So future, they are Xenoblade members.
Yeah, yeah, Future Tools of Destruction, and
Okay.
it was really good. It was like one of the best PS3 games I think I ever played. It was so good.
Yeah.
And
Those
then
games were a lot of fun.
they were.
But the 3D platformers and they're a little rough for me. But
I'm not a big 3D
those ones weren't
platformer
bad
guy,
though.
but
Those
those
ones
ones
weren't
were
bad.
so good. And it was like so the PS2 ones were pretty fun. I went back and played them, but the PS3 ones it was the first time that like a 3D platformer looked like a Pixar movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
so
Right.
it
Right.
was just like it was incredible. And then I played it was like an in-between-quel, a downloadable only sequel to Tools of
Okay.
Destruction, and it was called Quest for Booty, and god did it suck. It was so
Oh, really?
terrible. And
That one was no good.
yeah, I ended up beating it because I was like I have to continue the story, blah blah blah, and it was just so
Right.
awful. And then they
Oh
did make
no.
an actual sequel. I think it was called A Crack in Time, and it was like even better than Tools of Destruction. It was so fucking good.
Wow.
Yeah.
How Haze was also on
Oh
PS3.
my god, Haze. So Haze was one of those games that spent all their money on marketing, and the game
Yeah.
was just I don't even
They
know.
were tr-
It was the
they
most
were trying
mid
so
game
hard.
I ever played.
They wanted to make it. They were trying so hard to knock Halo off. Because
Yeah.
Xbox 360 had Halo 2,
Oh,
right?
okay.
That was like it's like they were like, we got Halo 2 and it's an online game, and if you like first person shooters, this is the one to get. And then the PS3 was like, we need something to take out Halo 2.
Yeah.
And so they started throwing all these FPSs at it. And
Yeah.
Haze was one of them.
There was
and
a
it
good
was not a
Killzone
fun
game on PS3 as well. I don't remember which one, but I want to say Killzone 2 was really, really good.
Right.
But Haze. So Haze was that game that if you went to any gaming site like IGN or Game Trailers or anything like that, half the
Right.
screen was Haze ads. Like it was just like everywhere. And like I wanted Haze.
Everyone wanted you to get it.
Yes, I wanted to play Haze so freaking bad. And Finney, I remember it was like a couple years later, I was over at Finney's place. I was like, "You've got Haze? We've got to play it." Finney's like, "This game isn't very good." And I was like,
Oh, no.
"No way, dude. It's Haze. It's got to be good." Cuz like the whole thing was like there's like this drug called like nectar that
Right.
that like makes you like a super soldier for a while or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we played it, and it was just like the most generic, bland first-person shooter we've ever played.
It was poor.
And I remember we would like, I'd go to Finney's, and this was like after we had already been disappointed by Haze. But every time I'd go over to Finney's and we'd like start drinking and stuff. We'd be like, we should play Haze. And then we'd play it. We'd play it for like half an hour and be like, why are we playing this? It's not good.
That's so funny.
But it's like they did such a good job with the marketing that even after playing it and knowing the game was kind of shit, you would still want to play it. Another incredible PS3 game that was locked on the PS3 and you can't play anymore because the servers are down was Mag. Did you ever play that?
Oh yeah. You and I played that one together.
That was so good. That's the only
I think we had a beta test for that one.
I think we did, but then I ended up getting the full game, and that is the only first-person shooter game I ever played that actually feels like you're playing in like a
war.
a war, because you play like Call of Duty and it's like I'm here, the guy I'm shooting is like on the maybe the other side of this room, and you're shooting at each other, running around circles around each other trying to shoot each other. Mag was very like if you were going to push forward, I had to lay down cover fire so that their guys had to like take cover so that you could advance, and then you would lay down cover fire. Like it was so good. That was like one of my favorite games of all time. Like not favorite games of all time. That was my one of my
for
favorite
that type. For that type.
That was my favorite. One of my favorite first person shooters of all time.
Some of the Battlefield games have that same feel.
Okay.
Right? But they've shrunk quite a bit since they're kind of inception, right? Like the thing with Mag was it's 256 players on either side.
Yeah, it was
It was
incredible,
huge,
dude.
right?
And you'd get broken
Um,
down into like squads, and you'd have like
yeah,
squad leaders, captains, and like lieutenants and stuff. And
yeah.
then you could actually like plan out like, okay, we're gonna go to this part of the map. This squad's gonna go do this. Like it was, oh my god, was
See,
it
it's the
good?
worst part is that like those you can't play those games anymore,
You
right?
can't at
Like
all.
it's just
No,
they're dead, right?
they should
So
bring it back, but I don't know that the company even exists that made it
it
anymore.
would be next to impossible, right? Your best bet for a game like that would be that they like have they
Private
partner up
servers
with
or something.
Fortnite or something like that, right? Like they like have a mag themed Battlefield mod or something like that.
Yeah,
And
or
you know what I
or
mean? Like
private
that would be your
servers
best
because
case.
that's like a
Yeah.
big thing now too, right?
Yeah,
Like
if you could, but you'd have to
that'd be
have
the way
quite
to
a few
go. But I
people.
don't even know. And you had the other thing was is you had there were I think three clans I want to say, and
Oh,
so
okay.
if you mine was like Raven Clan or Ravenclaw or Ravencroft or
Okay.
something, and if you pick it like when you create your character and you're locked to that clan, and as you like take control of areas and stuff, your clan gets like perks, like so
Mm.
even if like I'm not playing that map, if I'm playing the game right now and my clan owns that like area, I get like bonus like ammo or bonus med kits and stuff like that. So it
Okay.
was constantly evolving, like whatever you like took over and stuff like that would give perks and bonuses to your party and stuff.
That's really cool.
And that was also one of the first person shooter games I played where you could play as a medic full time and get the same amount of like experience as anybody else.
Right.
And
Okay.
I would also like cheese that though. I would like hide around the corner, let my teammates die, heal them in like enemy fire. They would revive, die again. Because like every
Right.
hit point you healed was EXP. So I would just like sometimes if I wanted to just like level up and unlock like different gear, I would just like
Oh,
screw
that's
over my
funny.
teammates and stuff like that.
Um, Little Big Planet was also PS3.
Those were games
They
that
were weird games.
yeah, I remember liking them when they first came out and being like, this is kind of cool, but they kind of controlled like shit, and they just, I
Well,
don't know, they were stiff
and
and
weren't
clunky.
they were like creative, like you need to have like a vision of what like I don't know if you ever played the game Scribble Knots before or not.
Yeah, I think I
But they were
played
kind of
one
like
on the
on the
DS.
DS. Yeah. They were kind of little bit like that, if I'm not mistaken. You had to like come up with an idea and you would build it, and then Sackboy would run through the level, and
Yeah, and but it had its
it was its
own
own thing.
single player mode too, like where you would just play through the game, and it just, I don't know,
Right.
it wasn't that good. I think at the time it was just so hyped, so I did buy it, I have it, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't very good. Um,
Uh, on this list has Persona 5 listed as a PS3
Persona
game.
5 was on PS3?
Originally began life as a PS3 game.
That's crazy.
While it's gotten most of its love in 2017 on the PS4, the PS3 version is a valid way to play one of the best JRPGs in years. So, I mean, there was a couple JRPGs out there,
Yeah,
but they
not
were
very
so
many.
few and far between,
And the
right?
nice thing about the PS3 though was that's when you could start buying, if you missed out on a PS1 game, they had them on the PS Store for like dirt cheap, right? So
Right.
that's when I finally got to play Mega Man Legends 2 because that's like one of the rarest games of all time. And I
Got
loved
it.
Mega Man Legends, and I had to wait like 20 years to play its sequel because I could finally get it on the PS3. Same with like Suikoden 1 and 2. Those games are like $200 if you go to buy
Oh,
them
yeah.
now, but they you could buy them for like $10 on the
Which
PS3.
is just so cool.
And the nice thing
Uh,
was is they had a feature where like if you loaded your save from the first game in the second, there was like bonus stuff, and the PS3
okay.
allowed you to still do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dark Souls was also PS3. So
I
at
had
the t
Demon
for people
Souls.
who
I
played
didn't
it.
have Dark Souls, but I had the it was Demon Souls was like before that even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
had that one.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't those I've never been into that style of game,
Yeah.
but I mean that's kind of cool. And then I was gonna say Mass Effect 2. I remember being
Oh my
so frustrated
god.
when you were playing Mass Effect 2 because I love Mass Effect 2 is hands down up until Xenoblade Chronicles came out, I would have told you Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time
Right.
because it is just so well done. It is a very, very. They took what was good about Mass Effect 1, they trimmed the fat and cleaned the game up, increased the story, fixed all the problems, and made a better polished version of the game in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
And left the game on a cliffhanger for Mass Effect 3. Like it was just a very, very good game.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I was telling you about it, and I was like, oh, this Mass Effect is so good. This game is so great.
And
And
then
then
it
they finally
finally
released it
came.
on PS3. It
Yeah.
it was a year or 2 years
Yeah, I
before it
think it was
broke
more than that
Xbox
even.
exclusivity. And you were like, okay, fine, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And my God, I talked about the load times, but that game was exceptionally bad for
Dude.
that.
So here's the problem. And I actually ended up quitting Mass Effect
Hmm.
2. I enjoyed the game, but I
Yeah.
ended up quitting it because you anytime you would
Open a
load
door.
load anything, it was like a black loading screen for like several minutes. Like I don't want to exaggerate and say 10 minutes, but it might have been
No, it was
3.
bad.
It
It
might have
was
been 3 minutes.
egregiously bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
was
so
awful.
for those of you if you haven't played it, when you're on the main ship, which is like the Normandy, which is like your kind of main hub, anytime you go to like talk to characters in your like party, you can like go down the elevator, and anytime you went down the elevator, it was like a 3 to 5 minute wait. It was
It was
unbelievably
insane.
bad, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't do it. It was such a waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
It was
Uh
ridiculous.
it made me really sad. So I'm glad that you might be able to have a chance of playing it
I think I have the
Legendary Edition.
yeah, I think I grabbed it
Yep.
on something. I think it was like
Yep. If
free on PlayStation Plus or something.
they've given it away a couple times, and I promise you it is 100% worth the play worth the playthrough.
Uh,
Um both Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 came out during this time
never
frame.
played either of them. Still to this day.
Fantastic games. Fantastic games. Four, not as good as five. Five was phenomenal.
Oh,
Five
okay.
is just such a good game. It is very, very good. People think Grand Theft Auto and they think old school Grand Theft Auto where it's like open world, run around, blow stuff up, whatever.
That's
Five had a story, and it was a locked in story. I'm sure you would
oh,
like it if you
okay.
gave it a shot. It was a lot of fun. But to think back, 2013, this game came out, and it's still like 11 years later.
Yeah, that's
It's
like their
it's the
primary
Skyrim,
game
right?
still.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's insane.
Payday 2. That's when we
Okay.
played Payday 2
Payday
was on
2.
the
Yep.
PS3 as
Payday
well. That was
2.
a great game.
I'm just kind of looking through this list here of other games. God of War 3 came out this time. Ooh, Rock Band and the Guitar
Right, that's
Hero
when that was all
games.
started. Yeah.
That was all in that area. Okay, so here's one that I wanted to talk to you about. I have this game as well. It's a HD collection of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. And I was told all along, oh, DG, you
Greatest
have to
games
play
of all
Shadow of
time.
Colossus. It's the best game ever.
Yeah.
You just can't beat this game. It's amazing. It's still sitting in its shrink wrap.
Oh,
I've
you
literally
didn't
never
play it?
opened the
It
game.
sucks, dude.
No, I don't know. It never appealed to me, right? Like
Yeah.
people were telling me that it's an absolutely phenomenal, amazing game, and to them probably is. It's never been my cup of tea.
No. So those were PS2 games, first of all, but they
Those
got
are PS2. It was
remastered.
a
Yeah, yeah.
collection. It was an HD remake or
Yeah, yeah.
HD
But
collection or whatever.
yeah, dude, Shadow of the Colossus, it was like fun for like the first maybe 2 Colossuses.
Sure,
But then
sure.
it was like you just do the same thing over and over again, like
You
seven
just ride your
times. It was
horse and
just
take down a Titan
yeah,
kind of
it
thing,
was
right?
so
Like,
fucking boring, dude. And then here's the thing. So, speaking of the fucking PS3, Castlevania Lords of Shadow came out, and
okay,
like
yep.
that was like the first like 3D narrative driven, like fully awesome fucking. It was kind of like based around what like God of War is now, like the newer God of
Sure.
War games. Um, and it was a reboot though, like it's its own universe. It has nothing to do with the other games and stuff like that. And the story was phenomenal. The gameplay, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that kind like hack and slashy gameplay. If you like that, you'll probably love it. But
Okay.
that game added Titan fights like Shadow of the Colossus, but like 10 times
Okay.
better. And it was like,
No
and I
kidding.
was like, there's no point in ever playing Shadow of the Colossus because you might as well just play Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
There it
And the
is.
story in that game, man, the twists, and oh my god, that game. The storytelling was really good, but it's definitely feels its age now for sure. But I have like the collector's edition. I'm looking at it right now. Same with like all the Uncharted games. I have like all the
Right.
collector's editions. Like the one comes with like this
That
dagger
was that
thing,
was
and
that time. The
yeah,
Xbox 360 and the PS3 was the time of collector's editions, right? Like
yeah.
where companies were trying to one up each other by putting the goofiest things into packages and seeing what people would buy, right?
Yeah, like you can get like a Nathan Drake's ring. I
Right.
have. There's like the knife, the dagger thing. I've got like a statue of Nathan Drake from Uncharted. I think it was 2, where he's got like that
Okay.
AK-47 when he's walking through the desert and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I was just that's when I started
There's some
hitting.
cool stuff.
Yeah, there's some cool shit. Same with Metal Gear Solid 4. I got the collector's edition of that as well. That was also the era when Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare came out and World at
Yep.
War. And those are still like the
Yep.
only Call of Duty games that I like ever really go back to and play through the
Sure.
story and stuff. World at War is still like my favorite like World War II game I think of all time. That
That
game
one
is
was
just
fun.
so
That was a
fucking
good one.
good. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, and as you go out from that, I mean, just speaking about Call of Duty specifically, the story became less and less important to
And it was just
multiplayer.
only multiplayer. Yeah, it was shit.
And then it just started shifting. And I mean, at one point, I don't remember which game it was, but the game was only like the single
3
player game
hours
was only
long, I
like three
remember one of
hours,
them.
3 or
Yeah.
4 hours long. And it's like, really? Like that's
Yeah.
the best you could come up with? It's unfortunate, but I mean, it's a sign of the times. That's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
how it
kind of
was,
where it
right?
went. Yeah, those the I remember playing. So Call of Duty 4 was like huge, right? It like
Yeah,
was
oh
the
yeah.
biggest first person
I played
shooter.
a ton of Modern Warfare.
Yeah, and I'm not a first person shooter guy, and I still played the shit out of that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I played a lot of online on both that and World at War. And
Right.
I was that guy because I'm not good at first person shooters, right? So my idea of fun in a first person shooter game multiplayer is a lot different than someone who's actually good is, right? So people get so fucking mad because my loadout was a rifle. I think it was like the G3.
Okay.
Because I always like rifles. Same with like if I'm playing World at War, I'm using like I think it's one of the German rifles. Like I just
Okay,
like
sure.
rifles all the time because I feel like I can aim better, a little bit better with a rifle. I don't know.
Sure, sure. Accuracy's there for you.
Yeah. So, anyways, I always spawn with that, but I quickly hit. I think the swap button's like triangle. And in those games, you would kind of all spawn in the same spot at that time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I would immediately when a match starts, every single time, I hit triangle, switch to the RPG, aim it at the floor, fire it, kill the whole party, the whole team, every time. And I would always leave like voice chat on, and people would just be fucking
Just getting
yelling at me, dude.
so mad.
But I remember I ended up getting so good with that RPG that I would get like I can't remember how the points were like calculated, but I ended up having like 60 some points.
Oh
and,
wow.
And my team was getting so mad at me because I was team killing as well as enemy killing though. And I was like, dude, my team was just yelling, and I was like, holy shit, like this is the most points I've ever had in like a match in my
that's
life.
funny.
And I was so amped. And I was just like sniping people with like fucking rocket launchers and stuff the whole time.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love it. Yep. Yeah, I mean, good system. Don't get me wrong. The PS3 was good for what it was.
It took a long
but
time to get going though, to get
yeah,
rolling.
I always saw a lot of downsides to it. I mean, I do have it. Like I said, it's right there,
Oh
sitting
yeah,
on the
yeah.
floor. From
Dude,
when we
mine
were playing Harmony of Dissonance, but
I have
or Harmony of
the
Despair.
slim, and then I have the super fucking slim because my
Oh,
big
yeah,
one
yeah.
died, right? That
Right.
yellow lighted, and then so I bought a slim, and then I don't know why I got the super slim. I think the hard drive was just bigger because I was like most of my
Okay.
PS3 games are just like downloaded games, like a lot of
Yeah.
PS1 games and shit.
Okay.
And so the regular slim is in the bedroom. That's like our Blu-ray player Netflix machine basically in the bedroom.
Okay, yep.
Another game I got that was super early. It was called Crash Commandos, and it's
Never
super
heard of it.
fun. It's a 2D online multiplayer shooter, and it's like, so one joystick moves your character and the other joystick aims like on like a line like up and down and stuff, like I guess this way.
Oh, okay.
And you've got
Okay.
like jetpacks and stuff, and it was actually super fun. It was like dirt
Hmm.
cheap. And then Choplifter HD was another one that I got like pretty early
Choplifter
on.
HD.
Yeah, it's
Love
super
it.
fun. But yeah, the PS3, I don't know. I love the PS3, but I also recognize that the PS3, like, especially when you compare it to other PlayStation consoles, was kind of the
Yeah.
turd in
It's
the group.
absolutely the low point, I think, for the
Yeah.
PlayStation systems. I once upon a time had a meme image that was George Foreman grilling
Oh
on his
yeah,
PS3.
I remember those
It looked like a
memes
George Foreman
because it was like
grill.
it would get so hot, and now people have them with like the PS5 and PS4
Yeah.
because the PS4
Yeah.
gets real hot. I remember playing Doom 20, I think it's 2016 on my
Okay.
PS4, and it sounded like a jet was taking off.
Oh
Man,
yeah. Yeah.
it's like crazy.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. The PS3 definitely started off rocky. Never really did have great JRPGs. Like White Knight
I
Chronicles was good,
Yeah, I don't
but
know if the PS3 ever had like that one game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like where it was just on the PS3, like the like Heavy Rain, Last of Us, and the Uncharted
Uncharted
games.
trilogy.
Those would be the ones that I would be like, yep, those are your system sellers.
Yeah,
But
Metal Gear Solid
honestly,
4 for me for
yeah,
sure.
and like, but you reach a point where both, because I mean, at that point too, it was system exclusivity, right?
Yeah,
And Microsoft was just throwing money around, buying all these
yeah, and
companies
sometimes
up
sitting
to
on them, like in Rare's
and
case,
literally do
right?
nothing. Oh yeah, awful. And but I mean, you know, just a small handful of games where it's like these are the pure awesome PS3 titles.
There's
There's
not
just
very
so few.
many. Yeah,
Yeah. There's
definitely.
a whole lot of good games on it, but I mean those same games were available on
Other
all the
consoles,
other
yeah, yeah, yeah.
systems. So,
Speaking of consoles that didn't have a lot of great games on them,
oh man.
the Wii U. Growing up with the Wii U.
The yeah, I got it. I so yeah, why don't you start with the Wii
Yeah, I'll start the Wii U.
U?
Mine's like my history
You
of the
never
Wii U is
used, you never owned one.
no, I never did. So I remember your brother Bubs. He lived in a town. He lived in this city that I'm in now,
Yep.
and I think he just rented like a basement suite or something, and
Yep.
he got the Wii U, and he was like super stoked about it, and he was like, "Come over, we'll play Wii U. I've got Mario. I don't even know what it was. It was like new Super Mario
There was a
Brothers
new Super
something."
Mario Bros. Yep.
I think it was
New
just called New
Mario
Super
Wii U,
Mario Brothers Wii U or some shit.
something like that. Yep.
And I went over there, and like I'm not a big Mario guy. We played it for like a couple hours, and I was like, I don't know, man, this is just like not doing it for me, man.
Yep.
And I think that was like the only game I had played at that time. And then the only other game I played on the Wii U was Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Right.
And I bought Xenoblade Chronicles X because I finally found it, and this was like after years later, like after I
Hmm.
played Xenoblade
Hmm.
Chronicles and then Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I bought it, and then I asked your brother, I was like, "Hey, can I borrow your Wii U to play this game?" And he was like, "Oh, absolutely," because he like never played it,
No, it
right?
doesn't use it anymore. Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I played Xenoblade Chronicles X and kind of loved. I kind of like hated it. I liked some of the things they did with it, but overall, the game just frustrated the shit out of me. It's finally getting an HD remaster or a remaster on the Switch.
Remaster.
So I mean, hopefully
Maybe
they
a remake.
fix all
It's a
the
definitive
bullshit.
edition, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want
Yeah.
that to be.
So hopefully they fix all the bullshit. But honestly, not a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
So that was like all my experience with the Wii U was just those two games, really.
Just a little blip on the radar.
Yeah.
I picked up the Wii U because both of my brothers owned the system, and I had come down for, I think it was for Christmas or something. And they were like, "You got to get the system. It's so much fun. Look at this. It comes with this tablet and blah 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 blah." And I mean, we were playing it. It did look fun. Like there was a lot of fun to do on it. Uh, but I bought it, and I got to tell you, man, that is hands down the worst console I've ever bought in my entire life. That system had me so PO'd at Nintendo that when they announced the Switch, I was like, I'm not buying it. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. I don't care what games come out with it. I don't care anything. That company has 100% lost me for life. And it took me a long time to come around on that because I felt so ripped off by the Wii U. It's
Yeah.
it's not that it was a bad system. It's that
It had
I think
zero
the Wii
games,
U
really.
well there was so few. There was a few outstanding ones, which we can get into a bit. But the reason why I was so mad is because it felt like the system was what they wanted the Wii to be, but it was
Right.
the prototype for the Switch. Like it wasn't it was like they released this prototype system because it
And
just
you had to
was
pay for it to
janky.
test it, basically.
Yeah, and I mean like there was no like you could use a normal controller. They had a pro controller. You could use that, but you had to start the game from the
The
tablet.
giant, yeah, tablet
And
thing.
so the problem with this concept is if that tablet ever got wrecked, your system's useless because you
Really? I didn't
cannot
know
use that
that.
system without the tablet. It needs you to select the stuff on the tablet in order to navigate
Oh
the
my
system and stuff.
god.
It is not good. There was just a lot of really bad, dumb decisions that they made with it. But um, launch titles for the Wii U. Are you ready for this list?
Yeah.
So significantly more than the PS3s. I'll give them that. They had 23 launch titles at the time.
Oh, that is quite a bit, actually.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2. By the way, all of the Wii U titles were special Wii U versions because they weren't as powerful as the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Oh,
They were
really?
always dumbed down
Because,
versions, and
like,
they always had
that's
it
surprising,
in the
actually,
yeah.
because Xenoblade Chronicles X looked really good. Like, it was
For
very
sure.
graphically
Oh
impressive.
yeah, for sure. It's not that it was they were bad, but compared to the other systems, so that you got to remember the Wii U came out at the same time, roughly, that the Xbox One and the PS4 did.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when you look at it in a box, yeah, it looks great. But when you look at it compared to those other systems, it's like, well, yeah.
Right.
And it's no different than it is today. The Switch is nowhere near the
Yeah.
PlayStation 4/5 as we're going into it, and the Xbox One XSSXX
The
552
the Xbox
3,
One
whatever it is.
sex.
I just and so anyway, so Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Skylanders Giants,
Remember
Transformers
those shitty
Prime.
Skylanders games that just
Yeah,
buy a billion toys?
dude, there were so many of those
There was like that
systems, so many
Disney
of
one and
those.
shit too,
Yeah,
right?
Starlink was the one that Wii U had, which was the Star Fox, and it had a bunch of other ones they tried and it just failed
Oh
miserably,
my
but
god.
it's good to sell you stuff. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
about selling you collectibles.
And now you
Transformers
go,
Prime.
sorry, now you go into like any used game store and there's just like a
Oh, just like
fucking,
piles of them.
yeah, dude. Oh
Except
my
for the
god.
amiibos. Amiibos still seem to have held on to their value somehow, but the Skylanders and all of those things, man,
Yeah.
they're like worthless.
Yeah.
Wipeout 3, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. Stop me if you hit a game that you would actually play again.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
FIFA Soccer 13, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, New Super Mario Bros. U. That would have been the one he showed you because it's
Yeah.
the same one he showed me.
Not good.
Ninja Gaiden, Razor's Edge, Nintendo Land, which wasn't available in North America.
Nintenderland.
Was that one wasn't
I
available in
remember
North
that.
America right away? I think that was a Europe one, and then they brought it over later. Sing Party. Oh no, I'm thinking the Wii. Nintendo Land was in here. It was their version of Wii Sports, but it wasn't
Oh, it's like shit.
Portly. Yeah. Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed. That one I bought when I bought my system.
Okay.
That one
I
was
had that on
actually a lot of fun.
PS3. Yeah.
It was fun. It was not great.
Yeah.
Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper,
I had that on PS.
Darksiders 2,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 3, ESPN Sports Connection, Just Dance 4, Rabbids Land,
Oh, the all those shitty Rabbids games.
Your Shape Fitness Evolved 2013, Scribblenauts Unlimited, Game Party Champions, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. This is what I was talking about. Like
It was
they're
like
always
a
dumbed down
shitified
versions.
version.
Yeah, it's the Wii U version. They called
Yeah.
it Armor Edition, right? Like, and Zombie U.
I heard Zombie U was like super
It
popular when it
was
first came out.
okay, but it was one of those ones. It was the red steel of this system
Okay, okay, yeah.
because it was gimmicky. You had to use the tablet to like look around a room, and you were like, it was a thing.
Okay.
It was okay. It was not great. So anyway, those were the launch titles.
Man,
So
I feel
like
like the Scribblenauts on the Wii U would have had a lot of potential if
it would
that
have
was
been
like your
it
thing.
would have been okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you have to have that creative mind.
yeah,
You
you
know what I
gotta be into
mean?
those kinds of games for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Um there's so many games like I'm looking at a list of like the 25 best and it's all
They're
just like
all
not
shit.
great. Hunter 3 Ultimate
Not a big Monster Hunter
again.
guy.
New Super Mario Bros. U. That game was fun. So it was basically like it was a 2D 3D
It was
thing.
like Super Mario World
It
kind
was
of, but
Super
not
Mario
as good.
right, but it wasn't the reason why I liked it. It wasn't a 3D platformer. Like you
Yeah,
ran
yeah,
from the beginning to the end and you jumped over the obstacles, you did your things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
In the 25 best games list that I'm looking at, the NES Remix Pack is one of them,
Oh my
just so you know.
god.
Just to put it like to understand the
Oh
game
man.
selection for the Wii
So
U.
what games did you all play and like buy
I
for it?
do not many. So I had the Sonic game.
Like
Uh
the racing one, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U. Was it? Or was that the Wii? Yeah, it was the Wii U. Mario Kart 8 was on the Wii U.
Okay.
That's what ticks me off too about the Switch is that Mario Kart 8 is still the most current version of Mario Kart.
That is
They just
weird.
they're just milking that Mario Kart cow as long as they possibly can.
And just adding
Um
DLC maps basically.
there was a couple more Super Mario Bros games, new Super Mario Bros
Oh, that's when
and
like Mario Maker and shit came out too though. That
yep,
was pretty popular.
yep, those ones are okay. Um and then what else did I have?
Did you get
I had
Splatoon?
I didn't. So I was just gonna say Splatoon was released on the Wii U. That was absolutely a high point for the system.
Yeah.
Splatoon is a ton of fun. Did you ever play
I've
Splatoon?
never played any of them, no.
Okay, so it is a ton of fun. If anyone ever wants to play Splatoon 3 with me, I would be willing to buy the game. Jason and I played Splatoon 2 so much. Like it's one of my most played Switch games. It
Oh,
was it
okay.
was the game that I bought with my Switch. We played so much Splatoon 2. It makes me really sad. So okay, and I'm gonna have a sad story here with Splatoon
Time
2.
for some sad
So
boys.
so when you boot up Splatoon 2, you launch into like this town square kind of area
Mm-hmm.
and you can customize your character, you can see what the event is, you can play the mini game, you can jump into a game, you can do your settings, whatever, and it's just kind of mixed into like a town square type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
It's interactive, it's very cool. Well, your town square is populated with people that you played the game with. So if
Oh.
you and me played a game together, you'll be walking around in my town square.
Yeah.
Every time I boot up Splatoon 2, Jason's sitting there ready to
Oh.
play, and I'm like, it's sad. It is really sad.
No doubt.
I haven't played Splatoon 2 since he passed away. Because I just
You
don't
can't.
like it. I just
Yeah,
don't like
no
playing it
doubt.
anymore, right? But I would very much be interested in playing Splatoon 3. I've heard good things about it. Now they're the same game as you go. But
Yeah, yeah.
um
But
so
it's no
anyway,
foam stars.
it's no foam stars. The Splatoon was released on Wii U, and that game was definitely top tier, but it wasn't released until 2015,
Oh,
and that was 3 years after the launch of the Wii U,
oh
like
yeah.
towards
The
the
Wii
end
U
of
is
its
dead.
life almost, right? It ended in 2017, so I mean, like, it's
Not a lot of
you're pretty
mileage there.
not a lot left to go there,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, but that one was good. Um, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I had this one as well.
Oh, I played the 3DS counterpart of that, and it was actually really
So
good.
yeah. So the cool thing with this game is I had it on 3DS as well. If you played it on 3DS, you could carry your profile back and forth.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing how many Smash Bros. Games I own for being so bad at Smash
Oh,
Bros.
same. I'm
Like
awful.
it's insane how many Smash Bros. Games that I own. I have the Wii U, and the Switch, and the 3DS. And I gotta tell you, man, I always
I think
thought
I have
like
all of
this
them
will be
too,
the
except the
time.
Wii U.
This will be the time that I'll
I
be good at this game,
Smash
I
Brothers
say. And
fans are gonna shoot me dead for this one, but Brawl's my favorite one because it has the story mode. Like
No
the
kidding.
story mode was so good in
Brawl was
Brawl.
great.
Yeah.
Switch, I think did really well with their
It was
story mode as
okay.
well.
It wasn't as good as Brawl, but the game
No,
overall is better than Brawl.
but
Like I
like
think
that,
so.
whatever that like game board or whatever it was that you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
play,
It
I
was.
thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah. It was. It was.
Um, this list also lists Shovel Knight as number 8 on its
And
list
that's
of
like on
25 best
every
games.
console, like
Well,
every
Shovel Knight was
action
like a indie
platformer.
game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an indie game, right? Like it's not like
I still
it
need to
wasn't
play
made for
it.
the Wii U, and it's in the top 10.
Oh my
Super
goodness.
Mario Maker was on the Wii U. You like great game if that's your thing.
Yeah,
It's not my thing. I'm not a Mario Maker guy.
yeah. It was
I
super
don't like
popular.
I don't like playing difficult Mario levels, and that's
That's
what it is.
basically what it is. Yeah.
That's the design of it. They re-released Wind Waker on the Wii U, and
Oh,
I
that's
did get
good.
it. There was a point in time where they actually gave the game away uh for free
Oh,
to
really?
the on the Wii U, and I don't remember what the catch was. There was a reason why they gave it away, but I did have it, and I played it a little bit. Zelda games aren't really my
Yeah,
thing
same,
though.
same.
But Mario Kart 8, we already kind of talked about that one. That one was fantastic. They did release the Super Mario 3D World. That was one where you could turn into a kitty cat.
Right, right. That was a 3DS game originally, right?
No, I think that one was Wii U
Oh, okay, okay.
specific. But that one, I didn't pick up because I don't really do the 3D platforming
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And but it was fun from what I hear. And
I mean, you can be a kitty, so it's got to be good.
the number one game on the Wii U, and this one was the one that felt like a slap in the face, was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Because they released Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and then they
Oh,
also at the same time released it on the Switch when it became available.
yeah.
And it was just like more reason why it was like, oh yeah, the Wii U was
Yeah.
definitely the
Epic
prototype.
failure. Yeah.
It was 100% prototype. The game selection was not good. And any of the like the top lists, if you go and look them up, they will almost always across the board be multi-release, so
Yeah,
many
like games that are just on
consoles,
any console, plus like indie games.
or like combination games like that NES remix being one of the best games on the system. Like really,
Yeah.
that's the best game on the system. There's so many Wii U like the eShop games that were
Yeah.
there.
Oh, you know what? So
um
one thing I will give the Wii U a ton of credit for was it
mhm.
had because like it had its own virtual console, but it had like the you could get DS games on it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
I
The
don't know why the Switch hasn't done that yet. I think that's something that it really needs to do. But
money,
that was
they
freaking
want
cool.
your cash money is what it's all about, right? um but yeah, most of the list is going to be unfortunately like multi-ports or indie games, Wii Shop games, or freaking um
Compilation
like
games.
bundles,
Yeah.
like bundle games, which is just it's insane. It's insane that that was what was
Like
allowed. And it's a
imagine
reason why I was done with it.
yeah.
I was just done with
Like
the game.
imagine
I
looking back at the PS2 and being like, "Man, Taito Legends 2 was the best
you know
PS2."
what
You
I
know what I
mean?
mean? Oh
Yeah,
man, it had I
exactly.
played a mean Raston on the
Oh man.
PS2.
Yeah. The best game I ever played on the Switch was the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, where I was
Yeah,
able to play all the NES Mega Man games. It's like,
exactly.
really? So, yeah, the Wii U is it is what
Garbo.
it is. I wish I didn't buy it, but with that being said, that system is still in use in my house
Is it actually?
because I have gifted it to my children to play Mario Kart on.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
basically a Mario Kart system. Because I have Mario Kart for my Switch, but oftentimes I need my Switch to
Yeah, yeah.
do stuff for me. And so I was like, well, here, you guys can play Mario Kart. I'll set this up for you. And I set up the Wii U, and
Mm-hmm.
away they go. Now, I will say with the Wii U, they still have the whole Wii menu is in the Wii U. So
Yeah, yeah.
something
I
that they
do
did
remember
right here
that.
is that they put the Wii system into it.
Yeah.
So you can play your Wii games. I believe you can still play your GameCube games, but it doesn't have the GameCube. Or no, you can't. I don't think you can
No,
actually
I
do
don't
the
think you can do GameCube
the
on it.
GameCube ones are only on the actual Wii, but you
Yeah.
can still play your regular Wii games. It came with the sensor bar. It's
Yeah. You can
completely
use the
compatible,
Wiimotes and
backwards
everything
compatible.
too. Yeah.
Everything's backwards compatible. It was intended to take over the Wii to like
Wiimote is
encompass
the
it.
dumbest name for
I hate
anything
it.
any
I
ever.
hate the Wii, dude. This is just like the worst. Uh, but yeah, so it is still in use in my house, and I can't give details, but I've been told that the Wii U is apparently a very powerful emulation unit.
Yes,
So
I've heard it is. Yeah, I heard it's really good for
maybe
emulation.
maybe it will ride again. I'm really the tablet freaks me out. Because I mean, like if that thing breaks, it's done.
Garbage.
Like you're
I wonder
game
what it
over.
sells for, because it has to be rare. Like nobody bought the Wii U,
I don't know if
but
it's
nobody
that
wants it
rare.
either.
I mean, it's not that nobody bought it. It says units sold worldwide 13 million, which is very low, but that's still a lot of units sold.
Yeah. And then if nobody
13
wants it,
million.
it's not like the demand is high, right?
Well, and that's the best part about it is that up
Uh,
until recently, I saw those videos about like emulation on it and stuff, but um the Wii U, I mean, if you found a Wii U at a game shop, it's like 40 bucks. Like
yeah.
it was really like nothing. It was super, super cheap.
Yeah, it's dog shit. That's about it. We'll
That's gonna wrap it.
yeah, we'll come up with a plan starting in December. I'm thinking like we could start talking about handhelds, like growing up with handheld generations and stuff like
For
that.
sure,
I
for
think
sure.
that's the next direction here.
Sorry, I looked it up on price charting. The loose price for a Wii U console basic white system is $75.
Oh my god, that is awful, dude. That is garbo.
For point of reference, let's go PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 blue console listed at $115.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's no reason to own it. Like, there's no once Xenoblade X
75 bucks?
comes over, is there's no games like that you
Yeah,
can't
very
play on
few.
something else.
Very, very few.
Yeah, there's no reason to own it.
I would not recommend buying a Wii U.
No.
There's so many better choices, and for the few games that you would have actually played on it, no, you're better off. Now, with that being said, if you don't own a Wii and you wanted to own a Wii and you don't care about the GameCube components of it, that is a definitely a choice. It would be cheaper.
Yeah, I guess
But
so
personally, I would buy the actual Wii so that I could essentially have a GameCube because
as
the
well.
Wii is cheaper than the GameCube.
Yeah.
So,
I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you are checking this out on Spotify or an audio only format and you want to watch the video version of these podcasts, always check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dookie03. We've got every single episode up there. And you can catch us live on Twitch as well as YouTube. And I'm up here at twitch.tv/Dookie03.
and I'm at twitch.tv/DG online.
So yeah, come hang out with us live if you'd
Yeah.
like,
Join the
and
Discord.
join the Discord.
That's the best place to come
I
hang
always
out
put
with
the
us.
link to the Discord in the description of these. So if you want to hang out with us in there as well, you're always welcome. And yeah, just thanks for listening or watching this podcast. We always appreciate you guys, and have a good one.
See you next time.